She was found drifting on the morning of December 4th, 1872. Her sails were set, her cargo was intact, her lifeboats were gone, and every single person who had been aboard her was gone. No bodies, no blood, no distress signal, no farewell note, no explanation. The Mary Celeste had crossed more than 400 miles of open Atlantic Ocean in the 28 days since her last confirmed position, crossing it alone, without a soul to guide her, without a hand on the helm. And she had arrived in the waters between the Azores and the Portuguese coast, as if she had simply kept going after everyone left. She would become the most famous ghost ship in recorded history. The question at the center of her story has never been answered. Not in 150 years, not by any government commission, not by any court of admiralty, not by the most sophisticated forensic science the modern era can bring to bear on a 19th century mystery. What happened on board the Mary Celeste? The answer, if it exists, lies somewhere in the gray water between the Azores and the edge of everything that can be known. The brigantine Mary Celeste was built in 1861 in Spencer's Island, Nova Scotia, under the name Amazon. She was a working vessel, two-masted, roughly 99 feet in length, built from hardwood against the Atlantic swells, designed for cargo and endurance rather than speed or elegance. She was a workhorse. She was expected to last. Her early life was marked by a pattern of misfortune that sailors of the era would have called bad luck, but that in retrospect reads as a ship acquiring a reputation it could never fully shake. Her first captain, Robert McClellan, died of pneumonia within days of taking command. She ran aground on her maiden voyage. She was involved in a collision in the English Channel that left another captain dead. She changed hands 7 times in 10 years, each transfer accompanied by difficulties that the previous owner was glad to leave behind. In 1868, she was purchased at salvage auction and eventually renamed. The name she received, the Mary Celeste, was the name she would carry into history. By 1872, she was under the command of Captain Benjamin Briggs, a 37-year-old native of Marion, Massachusetts, the son and brother of seafarers, with an impeccable professional record and a reputation for exactness, sobriety, and good judgment. He did not drink. He did not permit drinking on his vessels. He was known among the men who sailed for him as fair but demanding, the kind of captain whose ships ran well because he saw everything and expected the same from everyone below him. Briggs had made the decision to bring his wife, Sarah Elizabeth, on this voyage. Sarah was 30 years old, the daughter of a Massachusetts minister, a woman whose surviving letters suggest intelligence, warmth, and a genuine appetite for the life her marriage had given her. She had sailed with her husband before. She found the sea agreeable. They brought their daughter. Sophia Matilda Briggs was 2 years old. She would turn 3 in October. She was, by the one surviving photograph, a child with her mother's eyes. She had sailed before too, or at least she had been carried aboard ships in the arms of parents who saw no reason to leave her behind. The 3 of them boarded the Mary Celeste in late October 1872 and made ready. The crew numbered 7: Albert Richardson, the first mate, 35 years old and a man Briggs trusted enough to write home about approvingly; Andrew Gilling, the second mate, a Dane; Edward Head, the steward and cook, a young man on his first deep-water voyage; and 4 sailors of German extraction, the brothers Volkert and Bas Lorenzen, Arian Martins, and Gottlieb Gondeschalk, who had signed on together and who were, by Briggs's own account, a steady and capable bunch. 10 people in total, a competent ship, a known route, a cargo of commercial alcohol bound for Genoa. On November 7, 1872, the Mary Celeste cast off from Pier 50 on the East River in New York and stood out to sea. On that same morning, a ship called the Dei Gratia was berthed not far away, loading her own cargo for a transatlantic crossing. Her captain was David Reed Morehouse, a Nova Scotia man, an experienced sailor, and a personal friend of Benjamin Briggs. The 2 men had dined together the previous evening at a restaurant in New York, talking about the voyage ahead and the weather expected. They said goodbye as colleagues who expected to see each other again. Morehouse's ship would depart 8 days after the Mary Celeste. In the mathematics of ocean passage, she was expected to arrive after. She arrived first. At approximately 2 in the afternoon on December 4, 1872, The lookout on the Dei Gratia spotted a vessel some 5 or 6 miles distant, north by northeast, behaving strangely. She was moving. Her sails were set, or most of them, but her heading was wrong, wavering in a way that suggested either a crew not paying attention or no crew at all. She yawed and fell off and recovered in the manner of a vessel under a helm that was not being held. Captain Morehouse studied her through his glass for more than 2 hours before acting. He was methodical. He wanted to be sure of what he was seeing before he committed his men to a rescue operation in open ocean. What he was seeing did not resolve into anything he recognized as normal. He recognized the ship. He dispatched his first mate, Oliver DeVoe, with 2 sailors in the Dei Gratia's small boat. They rowed across and boarded her. What DeVoe found on board the Mary Celeste was something he would spend the rest of his life trying to describe accurately, because accuracy was the only thing that would make people believe him. The ship was empty, not abandoned in the way that implies chaos, not overturned, not ransacked, not burned. Empty in a way that was more disturbing than any of those things, because it implied that whatever had caused the people to leave had been orderly enough to allow them time to leave without visible panic. The helm was unmanned. The binnacle, which housed the compass, was damaged. The cover displaced, the compass itself off its mount. The ship's chronometer and sextant were missing, suggesting that whoever left had taken the instruments needed for navigation. This was the most significant detail DeVoe noted. Taking a chronometer from a ship is not a reflexive act of panic. It is a deliberate act of preparation. Someone had decided they would need to navigate from somewhere else. The ship's log was present. The logbook had been left behind. The last entry in it was dated November 24, 1872, placing the Mary Celeste at a position near Santa Maria Island in the Azores, approximately 600 miles from where the Dei Gratia found her. In the 9 days between that last entry and her discovery, the Mary Celeste had covered those 600 miles without human guidance, navigating by no hand across open ocean. Below decks, the crew quarters told a story of departure that was intimate and strange. Clothing had been left behind. Oilskins, heavy weather gear. The clothing a sailor would never voluntarily abandon in the North Atlantic in late November, when temperatures were dropping and the weather could turn without warning. Pipes and tobacco pouches were on the table. A sewing machine with partially completed work still in it. Boots beneath a bunk. In the captain's cabin, evidence of domestic life. 2 swords, the second officer's coat, charts spread on the desk as if someone had been working. And in the captain's quarters, among the effects of a family rather than just a professional passage, DeVoe found the things that made the emptiness feel most acute. Books. A small melodeon, the type of portable organ Sarah Briggs was known to play, a child's toys, a pair of small shoes. Sophia Matilda's shoes were still on the ship. The hold contained 3.5 feet of water, which sounds alarming, but which DeVoe, an experienced sailor, assessed as within normal parameters for a crossing of this duration. The pumps were functional. The ship was not sinking, she was seaworthy. 9 of the 1,701 barrels of denatured alcohol in the cargo hold had been opened and found empty. The remaining 1,692 were sealed and undisturbed. The lifeboat was gone. There was no lifeboat, and there were no people. DeVoe and his 2 sailors worked through the night, assessing the vessel, making her ready. 2 days later, with DeVoe and 2 men from the Dei Gratia sailing her, the Mary Celeste made port at Gibraltar. Captain Morehouse filed a salvage claim. The inquiry that followed was among the most exhaustively documented in the history of the Admiralty courts, and it produced almost nothing useful. The British Vice Admiralty Court at Gibraltar was presided over by Frederick Solly Flood, Attorney General and Her Majesty's Advocate General for Gibraltar. Solly Flood was a man of strong instincts and limited patience for explanations that did not confirm those instincts. He suspected foul play from the first day of the inquiry and pursued that suspicion with a tenacity that outlasted every piece of evidence he examined. He ordered chemical analysis of what appeared to be bloodstains on the ship's deck railing and on a sword found in the captain's cabin. The analysis came back negative. The stains were rust and organic residue, not blood. He ordered a physical examination of what he characterized as sword marks on the bow railing. Maritime experts concluded the marks were consistent with normal wear. He examined the cargo, the crew quarters, the captain's papers, the structural condition of the hull. Every avenue pointed in the same direction. Nothing criminal had occurred on the Mary Celeste. The court eventually awarded Morehouse and his crew salvage money, a fraction of what they might have expected, reflecting the tribunal's lingering, unshakable, unsubstantiated suspicion that something dishonest had been involved in the affair. The court could not say what. It could not produce any evidence. It simply could not believe that what the evidence showed was really all there was. Benjamin Briggs, his wife Sarah, his daughter Sophia, and 7 sailors had vanished from a seaworthy ship in calm weather, with no witnesses and no bodies. And that was the entire record of what had happened. Over the century and a half that followed, the theories accumulated. The most durable, and the one that has gathered the most scientific support, centers on the cargo. Denatured industrial alcohol of the type the Mary Celeste was carrying is known to produce significant vapor pressure under conditions of temperature change. The 9 empty barrels, red oak rather than white, more porous and more prone to leaking, may have produced a vapor buildup in the sealed hold during the voyage. When a hatch was opened, a sudden release of pressure, not necessarily an explosion, not necessarily fire, but a percussive expansion of vapor, could have erupted from the hold with a sound and force significant enough to convince everyone on deck that the ship was about to explode or burn. Captain Briggs was experienced, but Briggs had his wife and his daughter on board. A man sailing alone might assess the situation, wait for the vapor to dissipate, determine the hold was not actually on fire. A man who could hear his 2-year-old daughter below decks might make a different calculation. He might choose distance first and assessment second. The theory holds that Briggs ordered everyone into the lifeboat, quickly with essential navigation instruments, intending to wait at a safe distance on the towline until it was clear whether the ship would burn. The towline was the critical element. Keep the ship, keep the cargo, keep the voyage's purpose intact, but put enough distance between your family and the potential explosion to survive if it came. Then weather. The North Atlantic in late November offers no guarantees. A sudden squall, a shift in the sea state, a line under tension snapping in a gust. Any of these could have separated the lifeboat from the ship in moments. The Mary Celeste continued east. The lifeboat, overcrowded in deteriorating conditions, without the shelter of a vessel around it, went under. No lifeboat was ever found. No body from the Mary Celeste was ever recovered from the sea. This theory is coherent. It is internally consistent. It accounts for the missing chronometer, the missing lifeboat, the absence of obvious distress indicators, the orderly appearance of the ship. It does not require criminal conspiracy, supernatural intervention, or any mechanism beyond the ordinary capacity of the North Atlantic to kill people who are in a small boat in the wrong place. It is also unproven. There is no physical evidence confirming it. It is a reconstruction from absence, built on what was not there rather than what was. Other theories exist: a waterspout, a seaquake, the sudden violent motion of the sea caused by an underwater earthquake, terrifying enough to feel like the ship was breaking apart. Attack by a large squid or marine animal, proposed by a few 19th century writers and universally dismissed by everyone who has examined the evidence since. And then the theories that belong not to history but to legend. The theories that Arthur Conan Doyle, then a young medical student, helped create when he published a fictional account of the Mary Celeste in 1884 that was so vivid and so internally consistent that it was briefly mistaken for fact. Doyle invented the half-eaten breakfast still on the table, the still warm coffee, the domestic mid-meal interruption. None of these details appeared in the actual Admiralty record, but they entered the popular imagination and have remained there ever since, contaminating the real mystery with the debris of fiction. The Mary Celeste continued to sail. She changed hands more than a dozen times in the years following the Gibraltar Inquiry, as if no owner wanted her too long, as if the association was something they could feel but not name. In January 1885, under a captain named Gilman Parker, she was deliberately run aground on a reef off Haiti. Parker had taken out fraudulent insurance on her cargo and was attempting to scuttle the ship for the payout. He was charged with fraud. He was acquitted on a legal technicality. 3 of his co-conspirators died within 8 months of the trial. Parker himself was dead within 3 months. The wreck of the Mary Celeste was left on the reef, stripped, forgotten, slowly consumed by the Caribbean. In 2001, underwater archaeologists led by author and explorer Clive Cussler identified the remains using copper sheathing and the structural signatures of her original Nova Scotia construction. She lies on Rocheleau Bank off the coast of Haiti under 14 feet of water. She has been there longer than the mystery she left behind has been discussed. The ship's log entry from November 24, 1872, is the last human record from the Mary Celeste. Whoever wrote it, Briggs or Richardson most likely, went about the ordinary work of a ship's officer. He noted the position. He noted the weather. He noted that all was well. He closed the book. 8 days later, the book was still on the desk. The ship was still moving. The man who wrote the entry was not there. Sophia Matilda Briggs' shoes were still on the ship. She would have been 3 years old had she arrived somewhere.